Welcome back. In the previous video, we talked about values. In today's video, I'm going to talk about variables, statements, and expressions. So let's get to it. If you open Python here, as we talked in the previous video, you can define a value, which is saying, for example, 2 or hello, right? Different types of values, but they are at the end of the day all values. But now let's start with variables. What is a variable? A variable is something that you can simply assign a value to that, right? So if I go x equals 2, the value 2 is now assigned to variable x. And now if you go x, Python says, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about value 2 because you previously assigned that value to variable named x. If I go s equals hello and then say, okay, give me s, it says, yes, I remember. You assigned the value hello to variable named s. As simple as that. So the benefit of using variables in Python is that you can update those easily. So if I go x equals x plus 3, for example, what it does is that it gets the previous value of x here, increments it by 3, and saves the new value in x. So here, if I go x now, it says 5 because x was 2 previously, and 2 plus 3 equals 5. If I go s2, for example, equals my friend, right? And then I go s equals s plus s2 and give me s, it says, well, the previous value was hello. The variable s2 is my friend. And if I concatenate those, if I add them, what I'm going to get is this in here. And this is a very common practice in programming. So that's what a variable is in a nutshell. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the statements. What is a statement? Anything that can be executed in Python, it's called, or many other programming language, it's called statement. So if I go print s2, it's something that I can execute. So it's a statement. If I go x equals x plus 1, it's a statement because Python can execute that, right? And you can see like the previous value was defined as 5 here, and now you increment it by 1. And that is a statement. But what is expression? Before I start talking about expressions, I need to talk about some operators that Python has. So when I talk about operators, I mean something like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and power operator. So if I go 2 plus 3, you already know that, right? If I go 6 minus 2, that's the subtraction. And if I go 7 divided by 2, that's just the division. And 7 multiplied by 2, that's the multiplication. And obviously the power operator, that's like 3 to 2, which is 9, as you can see here. There are actually 2 other really cool operators as well. And double slash, which is like divide, like 2 division signs next to each other, and the percentage. See how that works. So you see how when I go 7 divided by 2, it gives me 3.5. If I go 7 and do this operator instead of simple division, I get 3. It just gives me the integer part. And if I go 7 percentage 2, it says 1. So basically, it gives me the remainder of the division. So I know that 7 equals 2 times 3 plus 1, right? So the 3 here is this guy in here, right? And which is like the integer part of the division. and 1 here is the remainder of the division. As simple as that. Um, so like these are the most common operators that you're gonna work with in Python. I told you this because an expression, right? An expression is basically any combination of values, variables, and operators. Any combination of these is called an expression, right? So if I go something like x plus 1, right? It has a value, it has a variable, and it has an operator. So that is why it's an expression, just like that. Um, the other thing that I also wanted to talk about in this video is to introduce you, like to talk about a bit about, type conversion. Python has a really cool function called the input function, and go enter input, please enter your age, right? And it says please enter your age, and you can go, for example, 20, right? If you look at this, you will notice two things. The first thing, that it's not pretty. I can easily change that and go like add a column here in the space, and then when I run it here, it says please enter your age, and I do 20. It looks much better. The other thing that you notice is that when I ask it to output the result, it puts it in quotes. And you remember what that means in Python, right? It's some string. So if I go and assign this value to a variable named age, this is the other thing that I wanted to tell you. In programming, try to use variable names that make sense. If I go, for example, A, B, C, D, and all that, yes, you can assign the values to whatever you want. But when someone else reads your code, they have no idea what you're talking about. But when I go age equals this makes sense. It's obvious what I'm talking about. And it says, okay, enter your age, please. And I go 20. Now, if I go give me age, it says 20. But you notice the codes here. It says it's a string. So if I go type age, it says the variable age is a string. But I don't need that. I want my age, for example, for an application to be an integer. So what I can do is to overwrite age and says age is integer of age. So it gets this string, the current value, which is a string of age, and converts it to an integer for me, right? And now if I go age, that is not how you spell age. It says 20, right? And it's not a string anymore. To make sure, we can just do this, right? Integer. I can go age equals float of age, right? And if I print age, it says 20, and then it adds .0 at the end, just to make sure, to show you that it's a float. And you go type age, it says it's a floating point value. I think that's enough for today's video. We talked about values, variables, statements, expressions, and we also talked about how we can change the type, how we can get something from the user, and all this, which is good enough for today. In the next video, I will be talking about another type, the Boolean type, and see you all in the next video. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye-bye.